Hello, everyone.
Hello, teacher.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Good morning.
Good morning. Good evening. That's good. Xin chào, everyone. Good evening. Good morning, wherever you are. Here's some news from the United States today. This is the New York Times. This is probably my favorite newspaper to read, where I get my news. And it is showing pictures from the United States. No, not just the United States, from all over the world. Pictures from the pandemic. Some people are getting out wearing masks. Some people are getting vaccines. It looks like one of the vaccines has been paused because it might give problems. Anyway, hello everyone. It's almost time to start class.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Kitty. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Um,
Time flies so quick.
good, good. Yeah, it is a beautiful day in Atlanta, Georgia. The sun is coming up and the flowers are blooming. It's a good day. Hello, everyone. Um, Yesterday, I said that I would show you a like a technical dictionary or something like that. Um, I have something that I do want to show you, um, and it is this book. I'm not recommending this book. I'm going to tell a story about this book. This is, let me see. This book is from 1996. So it's an older book now, but um, let me see. It has some recommendations on words to use and writing styles. You don't want to buy this book now because this book is older, but just so that you know, there are different styles of writing. And in 1996, I was um, I was getting, well, let me see. In 1996, I got my master's degree in technical writing, technical and professional communication. And I was beginning to work in the high tech world. And 1996 is what in the United States we call that the IT boom. That's when computers were becoming very popular and people were getting their own personal computers. And the high tech world was new. There were many companies starting, and the style of writing about computers and software and networking technologies and things like that, it changed the way that people wrote and read, and there were um, different ways of spelling things. It used to be that um, I'll put it in chat. When in 1996 we had to write this website with a capital W, and then we began writing the word like this, and we had to use a capital W. And today, people just write this, just so that you can see how language, and English especially, excuse me, English changes all the time. And it changes with the introduction of new technologies and new lifestyles and things like that. So um, everybody has opinions about the way you should write and things like that. So my advice to you is to talk with your professors and decide on what writing style you want to use, and then adopt a set of standards, whether it's a website or a book. Um, and if somebody questions you about why did you choose this word, or uh, why did you choose this style, you can refer them to the guide that you use, whether it be the APA, American Psychological Association, or MLA, the Modern Language Association, or the Chicago Manual of Style, or um, do you have like a Vietnamese style guide for writing English? I don't know if you have that, but you if you're writing to an American audience, then you probably want to use an American English style guide, because it will be very different for England. In England, they use different words for the same thing. Okay, there are many, many examples of that, and I won't go into that. But just uh, if it depends on it, it the number one rule for writing is know your audience. Who are you writing to? So you want to adapt your writing to your audience and make sure that you're making your audience happy. Those are your customers. So number one rule of writing is know your audience. Okay, so I am ready to start working with you on some of those things that you wrote. The essays that you wrote. Okay, um, it's. I think it's going to be an interesting lesson today. We have lots of things to talk about. Um, and the first thing I want to talk about is this person writes, children can utilize some technological devices. And that's a perfectly good sentence. It's okay. Um, but um, remembering the KISS principle of keep it simple. Okay, I'm going to mute somebody there. Okay, now they're on mute. Okay. The way we're writing it in English today, we recommend keeping language a little simpler. And so the word utilize is a perfectly good verb, but people today prefer you to just write the word use. Okay. Use is common everyday language. Utilize it has its own specific uses. And I, I wrote an example here. Okay. Use the word utilize for something like this. The power company has begun to utilize solar and wind power sources. So you see, it is a good word. It's just that if you're talking about a student using a laptop, then just write the word use. Um, and um, I do want to take you to show you that um, that there is a debate about this. Let me stop sharing that screen and go to now I can share this with you. Okay, so you can see this is a very good American English. Well, yeah, it is American English. Merriam-Webster dictionary. It's online. And so this is a usage note on the word utilize so that you can see people are talking about it. Um, and what this dictionary recommends is pretty much the same thing that I'm saying. It has good uses, but for simple sentences, the word use is the preferred choice. Okay. This dictionary says that utilize is typically used to suggest a new profitable or practical use for something. Okay. So a student using a laptop doesn't meet this definition. So use and utilize. It's worth talking about in class today. And I would say almost always, unless you're writing about something high tech, the word use is the preferred choice. Okay, and then there's another website I would like to share with you. Give me just a second here. Okay. This is a big deal. This is important. It is the Plain English campaign, and it's being encouraged in universities in the United States. It was encouraged at the university where I got my master's as a technical writer. And it basically says try to keep your English, try to use words that everyone understands. And if you're writing, an academic essay, um, try to use words that match your audience. Okay, um, some words in English are antiquated. Um, we don't speak the same English today that we spoke 500 years ago. Um, you know, 500 years ago, English used words for you. They would say thee and thou shall. And today we don't use shall, we use should, oh, things like that. So just you want to keep your English current and realize that there are people who are important authorities in the world of English writing that are encouraging you to use words that are common and that everyone understands. Every once in a while, if you want to use a fancy word, that's fine, depending on your audience. Um, if you're writing for a newspapers, uh, for example, the New York Times, the New York Times will use um, interesting vocabulary because the audience of the New York Times is a highly educated audience. Um, excuse me. If your audience is not highly educated, then you don't want to use those fancy words that are not understood by most people. So once again, know your audience. Okay. But if you want to Google this plain English campaign, you can see that it's a pretty important movement in the writers' world in the United States and in England. And as a matter of fact, this campaign is founded in England, but is also in the United States. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. So you are a highly educated audience, and I have to say that your essays are very, very good. I'm just going to help you to make it a little bit better sometimes. Okay, so this person wrote, children can utilize some technological devices such as televisions, computers, laptops, smartphones, and so on to access the internet and look up a variety of practical information whereby they can enrich their understanding of the world around them. Okay, that's a that's a very good sentence. I like it. It's very good. I have a few little suggestions. Don't use utilize, say use. And we are encouraged not to use phrases like and so on. And also, we are encouraged not to use um, etc. Okay. If you want to use a more descriptive language and say something like, and other communication devices, that's okay. But try to avoid and so on, etc. Um, in your academic writing, you will probably run across this. Okay. Um, well, let me first talk about etc. ETC period stands for
Um,
etc. means and more like that. Okay. And that comes from Latin. And we are discouraged from using Latin phrases and acronyms that are not generally understood by everybody, except I would say at your university, it's okay to use those things. But be careful when you're outside the university and you're writing for a different kind of audience. So you want to adapt your writing to your audience. When you leave the university and go out into the working world, your writing will change because usually university academic writing is much different than the business world or the technology world. So you're going to have to adapt your writing style. If you try to write like an academic in the high tech world, people won't like it. They'll say, where did you get this writing style? That's crazy, And you say, well, I learned it in school. I say, yeah, but you're not in school now. Okay. You're working at IBM or some big corporation or some little company, but you have to adapt your writing style to your audience. Okay. There's another phrase, Latin phrase in English that you will see at your university. Et al., that means and others when you're talking about people. When you're talking about things, you can use etc. When you're talking about people, you can say et al. And you'll probably see et al. In your bibliographies when you see who sometimes you'll read a book that's been written by a group of people, not just one person, and you might see that et al. But generally, once you get outside of the university, you probably don't want to use etc., et al., things like that. Okay, the word whereby, I understand it, and I think everyone would understand it, but it sounds a little bit too formal and it's too antiquated. People don't use whereby so much anymore. You might just want to use the word so. Okay, so when I'm talking to you about your writing, I'm going to have to advise you about academic writing and about writing for a different audience. So just use that word carefully. Maybe ask your professors what kinds of styles they would like for you to use. Okay, here's an example from essay 4 in group 9. The opening sentence is, it is true that many teenagers now spend much of their time playing with the latest technological advances. Okay, I'm just going to read you my thoughts here. There's nothing wrong with this opening sentence, either grammatically or in its use of vocabulary. But it is weak and not very interesting. It lacks substance. It does not grab my attention. It lacks pizzazz. Pizzazz, you can look up this word in your dictionary, but pizzazz is something interesting, okay? You want to grab your reader with your first sentence and keep their attention and interest throughout your entire essay. Never let go, but your first sentence must demand attention, okay? If you're going to be a good writer. I'm going to give you some examples. Here's example 1. Excuse me. Last week, the Hue University Psychological Journal reported a dangerous increase in the number of students complaining of depression and suicidal thoughts related to isolation during the pandemic. Okay, well, that's a serious issue. That will grab someone's attention. Okay. I noticed that some of you have used the technique of asking a question in your opening statement, and I like that. I think that's a good idea. So here's an example number 2. Do you know a young person currently in school or university? Do you realize that she or he may be suffering physical or psychological harm due to isolation during the pandemic? Psychologists say that the use of devices instead of in-class schooling may be a contributing factor. Okay, so this kind of makes it personal. When you say, do you know someone, that immediately brings to mind in most people, yeah, I do know somebody who's in school or a university. Okay, and do you okay, this is really grabbing attention. Do you realize that he or she may be suffering physical or psychological harm. Okay, those are phrases that will get attention. All right. And then my example 3 is kind of funny. I just did it as kind of a joke. But if you say, residents in our community have reported huge cracks in the earth and things falling from the sky. Okay. Well, oh boy, it's like, I think I'm going to keep reading this article. Okay. But I'm just making that up. I'm just trying to get you to see that your first sentence must be very good, and it must generate genuine interest in your reader. You want your reader to care about what you have to say in your essay. Your essay is a representation of who you are. Do you have something meaningful to say? If not, why should I listen to you? So think about that. Okay. Do you have something to say? Um, you know, um, so your first sentence needs to really grab people's attention and keep it. And if you can do that throughout your whole essay, then you will be a good writer. Okay. All right. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with this sentence. It's a good sentence. Um, it's just kind of, yeah, well, I kind of knew that already. Um, so, tell me something new. All right. So just remember that that first sentence that you write needs to be, um, it needs to grab attention and keep it. Okay. Also, I want to reemphasize the fact that if you are pulling your information from a reliable source, it's much more meaningful than you just saying kids are playing with their devices too much. Okay. If you can quote a source, a reliable source that people trust, then that gives much more weight to your writing. People will believe you. Okay, here's an example from Essay 4, Group 1. Nowadays, it's a fact that digital technology has become an integral component of daily life, especially toward children. While some people hold the belief that technology have positive influence on our children, others claim that technology affects to children badly. This essay will discuss further insight into some advantages and drawbacks associated with this trend. Okay, here are my recommendations. First of all, use spell check. Okay, I've probably said that a lot during our classes, but spell check is easy and it can help you. All right, so let it help you. Use spell check. That way, you're not going to misspell one of the main words in your essay. It is technology with an N, not technology. Okay. That's an embarrassing mistake. It should be embarrassing. Okay. Um, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Nowadays is a word that is, it used to be popular. It's not popular anymore. It's antiquated. It sounds like language from a long time ago. I, people will still use it, but in good writing, I would say find something um, better. something more current. And I thought maybe if you really want to emphasize uh, like current status or right now, if you want to remind people that we are, for example, in the third decade of the 21st century, that will get people to realize, oh yeah, this person is writing about, something that is modern. Um, you know, um, I'm an older guy and I have lived in the 20th century and the 21st century. When I was alive in the 20th century, people were always talking about, oh, it's the 20th century, meaning it's all very modern and everything. And if you look at movies, you'll see things, like 20th Century Fox, okay? Meaning, oh, we're so modern, we're in the 20th century. Well, we are not in the 20th century anymore. We're in the 21st century, and we're not just in the first decade of the 20th century. We are now entering the third decade. Excuse me. Okay. I would say that, okay, I'm just going to read my recommendation here. In this, the third decade of the 21st century, it's a fact that digital technology has become an integral component of daily life, especially for our children. You can't really say toward, that doesn't work. For our children. While some people see only the advantages that technology brings our children, others, and you must use an S here and make it plural, others claim that technology, and I'm going to say that this needs a little work. So I would say technology can also bring challenges and even health concerns. Okay. In other words, be clear and specific about what um, you're talking about. So when you say affects children badly, it's very vague, and you want to be clear in your writing. So um, use some words that will um, be more specific and convincing. Okay, you can be general by saying challenges, but then you might want to get specific and go into health concerns. Okay, so I like this. I like these two sentences. They're good. It just needs a little bit of help. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to give you this document at the end of class today. So you will have that. I'll give you the link at the end of class. Okay. Um, okay, let's talk about this sentence. It can be said that technology has some noteworthy positive effects. Firstly, technology help to enhance learning of children. Okay. Um, I recommend that you cut to the chase. Um, okay, so I recommend that you just don't say this. Okay, because this is not giving me any information. So another way to say that is get to the point. Like the lady in the video yesterday said, get to your point right away. Um, in slang English, you can say cut the bull. Okay. Um, and I'll put it in chat. Bull is slang, and it is a I think maybe I have this in the document somewhere, but a euphemism. In other words, a euphemism is a nice word for something that's not very nice. Um, but um, okay, so another way to say that is get on with it. Okay. Shakespeare in the play Hamlet, I should put that in italics. He had his actor Polonius say, brevity is the soul of wit. In other words, keep it short, keep it simple. Okay, so this is Shakespeare's way of talking about the KISS principle. Okay, keep it short. The funny thing about this is that Polonius Polonius talks too much. He's an old man and he just talks and 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 talks until people are sick of him talking. But but Shakespeare has Polonius say brevity is the soul of wit. So it's kind of like Shakespeare making a joke. Okay. So if you ever read the play Hamlet, it's a very good play, uh, and and it is has a very serious ending. But anyway, this is advice from Shakespeare to you. Brevity is the soul of wit. Brevity means being short. Okay, wit being smart. Okay, and the soul of wit means a way to sound smart. So if you want to sound smart, Shakespeare says, keep it simple, keep it short. Okay. um, this person wrote, firstly, um, people used to say firstly, but in modern English, people would just say first, not firstly. Now, at the university, maybe you would write that way, but not outside of the university. And even in the university, in the United States, people would just say first, not firstly. Okay, you have to say technology helps because it is the third person singular. It. Technology is it. It helps. So you would say technology helps, not help. Okay. Um, enhance learning of children. That is that could be understood more than one way. That is not clear. What you want to say is enhance children's learning, because if you say learning of children, like I know that you mean children learning, but learning of children could be someone's learning about children. So that's not clear writing. You need to clear that up. You don't want to say learning of children. You know what you mean, but in order to write clearly, you need to make this so that it is unambiguous. Okay? Look in chat. Okay, so ambiguous means it can mean two things. It can mean two things. Okay? Unambiguous means it means only one thing. Um, the noun Okay, so those are adjectives. The noun from that is ambiguity. And you want to, um, normally, you want to avoid ambiguity. You don't want to be ambiguous. You want to be unambiguous. Sometimes you might want to be ambiguous in order to be interesting or funny, but you would want to be very careful with that. Um, if you're not writing for humor, then you probably want to be unambiguous. Okay. Make your meaning clear. Make it so that people understand clearly and do not misunderstand. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. What have we got? Oh, um, okay. Well, let's look at this. Thanks to the internet, there is a library with an infinite number of books in every house. Children can do extensive research on the subjects they wonder about. In this way, they are learning to access information, do research, and learn. Besides, technology also helps develop mental skills with educational content. Okay, so this person said technology help. It has to be technology helps. It has to be like it helps. Okay, and you want to develop skills, plural, not just mental skill, but mental skills. I would say always use this in the plural. And you can't just say with educational. You would have to say educational content. Okay, so I would say this let me see, these two sentences are very good. They are clear. They have an innovative use of vocabulary. It just needs a little help. Okay, so let's take this as an example of good writing. It just needs a little bit of help. Okay, so I say good work. And that's true for all of your essays. I can tell you put a lot of hard work into it, and your English is very good. I'm just going to give you, a few recommendations for making it better. All right, let's go to this sentence. There are many memory games for children who want to improve their memory, or visual games for children who want to improve their visual skills, and much more are at your fingertips today. Applications that teach foreign languages, give advice on society and ethics, games and applications that offer practice in mathematical operations, and similar applications that give information through gamification. Okay, so my recommendation is this is very good, and it contains some excellent current vocabulary like gamification. Yeah, gamification is actually a word that is used. Um, I I used to encounter this word a lot when I was an instructional designer, when I was making training for corporations. Gamification is a word that when you're trying to teach somebody something, there are some ways that your teachers can help you not only to understand something, but to remember it. And um, one of the things that teachers have to understand is that students learn better when, number one, they are comfortable, and number two, when they're having fun. Okay. So, um, usually, not for everybody, but usually, if you can make a game of teaching, that is gamification. So when we play Kahoot or something like that, and we make a game out of teaching, that is what you call gamification. And that's a good word. It's a good word for teachers and instructional designers. Okay. So, like we're not making this a game right now. I'm just lecturing, which is um, what you need right now, I guess. Okay, so let me see. Okay, here's my recommendation. This is very good, and it contains some excellent current vocabulary like gamification. That shows the reader that the writer is using contemporary vocabulary, vocabulary that is modern and used today. Okay, here is here's the way I would write it. There are many memory games for children who want to improve their memory. There are also visual games for children who want to improve their visual memory skills. Okay. Um, okay, use the KISS principle. Keep it short and sweet and clear. Um, let's see. Um, I have to make this clear for myself. Are always accessible for children. Okay. Uh, here's a question for you students. What exactly are always accessible for children? Okay, let me see. Um, where is that in here? Oh, I see. Okay, so yes, now I remember why I want to say this. Okay, so this is what you, the student, wrote are always accessible for children. So now my question to you right now is read what the student wrote and tell me what are always accessible for children. What word, what one word are always accessible for children? So go back, look at this sentence and tell me, what was this student talking about? What are always accessible for children?
Application.
Like the applications and similar applications in the second phrase, second
Okay,
second sentence.
okay. So you're saying applications, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
and and the next one is and similar applications in the next phrase.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and yeah,
All right. So my question is, why is this phrase so far away from this phrase, from this word, or even this word? Okay. And my suggestion to you is keep things close together that belong together.
So
Um,
can we like consider is like left branching
yeah,
something?
yeah. Keep things together that belong together. Try. It's harder for your reader to link these things if they are far apart in the sentence. So you might want to restructure the sentence, um, and bring these things together. So let me see. Yeah, I didn't really write a recommendation, but what I would recommend is that you keep the word applications, um, and always accessible for children. Keep those things closer together in the sentence. Just kind of restructure your sentence so that um, it's easy for the reader to understand. And like you said, yeah, don't branch off so much. Try to keep it together.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Um, yeah. There's a word in English, convoluted. Convoluted, it means it kind of goes all over the place. Okay. Um, and you don't want the meaning of your sentence to be convoluted. You want it to be um, straightforward. Okay. That's why you would keep things together. All right. Let's look at an example from essay 4, group 2. Technology plays an essential role in today's modern life. It not only has positive effects for children, but also causes concerns that need to be discussed. I believe that the positive effects digital technology has had on children are more than the negative effects. Okay. Okay. Here's what I say about that. This is an excellent paragraph. Okay. This is a good example of a well written paragraph. Okay. There's no BS. That's a euphemism for a bad word that means fluff. Okay. Um, this paragraph is short and sweet. It's concise and to the point. It takes a position. However, the use of the word I in the introduction is not something that I would advise unless you are maybe a politician running for office. It is better to stay neutral unless you're creating a 15-second TV spot to win votes. Okay. um, so there's an expression in English. Some people write to push people's hot button issues. Okay. So my advice to you, don't use the word I. Okay. I would avoid using the word I unless you really, um, you're taking a position and it's for some reason that you have to take a position. And I would say, a politician who's running for office. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show you a 30-second political advertisement that hits several hot button issues quickly. He uses the word I, and he uses his own name often. What I want you to know is that I did not vote for this governor, okay? But he is my governor now. He is somebody I do not like, but he got elected, and I'll show you his short TV advertisement. Um, so let's just watch this video. It's kind of hard to watch. It's not nice. It's not pleasant. Um, but I'll show you what we have to put up with in the United States sometimes. All right. Hold on just a second. Okay. As a matter of fact, this person is making a lot of trouble in my state right now. I think he's just a bad person, but he got elected the governor of my state. Okay, let's watch him real quick.
I guess it is Joe Biden.
No. I like Joe Biden. I voted for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. Okay. But this is not the president of the United States. This is the governor of the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, he is. People in the United States are laughing at Georgia, my state, because of this governor, and you'll see why. And you might want to also listen to his pronunciation of English is not the same as my pronunciation of English. Okay. So now I'm sharing the YouTube, right? Everybody can see YouTube. Okay,
Yes.
just so that you know, I do not agree with this person. Okay. Okay. So why did I show you that video if I don't agree with that person? Well, it's because when you say I in your opening paragraph, you're saying I am taking a position. I am not giving you information. I'm giving you my opinion. So I want to say that that paragraph was very well written. Let me share the screen again with you. Um, so um, when you're writing an essay, I don't think you want to take the same biased approach that a radical politician takes. So I advise you not to use I unless you want to tell your readers to trust you more than they trust reliable news sources. Okay? Does everybody understand this word biased? Biased means I already have an opinion, and I'm going to tell you about what I believe. Okay? So when you're writing an essay, usually you're writing your essay to convince somebody of something, or to inform somebody about something. And what you want to do is you want to have you want to write or speak with authority. you want people to know that you know what you're talking about. So when you begin with, I believe this or I believe that, your reader already knows you are biased. But it's better to be an unbiased writer than to be a biased writer. Okay? So what you really want to do is you want to show your reader somehow that you know what you're talking about. And the best way to do that is to quote some independent resources that your reader would believe. Okay? Like, the University of Hui's English department says this, or something like that. Or the National Association of whatever. Um, use sources that people recognize and believe and trust. Okay. So you, I don't want you to write like Brian Kemp speaks. Okay. So he was a politician running for office, and unfortunately, he won. Okay. But Atlanta is the capital of Georgia, and Atlanta is very different from the rest of Georgia. Atlanta is very metropolitan. Atlanta is very diverse. There's a very large Vietnamese population in Atlanta, I'm happy to say, and people from all over the world live in Atlanta now. So he is kind of a different character. So when you're writing, I would say don't use the word I unless you just feel that you have to let people know what your opinion is. But I think it's better not to use I. I think it's better to quote independent, reliable sources. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. Let's take a quick break. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And we will come back and do some more looking at your essays. Okay, I'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, everyone, can we get back together, please? Yeah, if you turn your cameras on, it helps me. It helps me to feel like we have a class and that you're here. I don't know if you're back from the break. Okay, everyone, let's get back together. When I went out on the break, I went out into the yard and got something to show you. These are azaleas that are blooming in my yard.
So
Oh,
beautiful.
so cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has. It's a bush. It has green leaves, but right now they are blooming. So
Wow.
these are the flowers, and there are hundreds of these flowers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, hundreds of these flowers. This is just for you, okay? Because I like you
Okay,
all so
thank you.
much. uh, okay, and something else I wanted to show you are some books that are popular for writers. This is Kate Turabian, a manual for writers, okay? Term papers, theses, and dissertations. So in other words, if you're going to be doing academic writing, you might want to get Turabian's book, okay? It can help you. It has lots of good answers for you, okay? Here's what it looks like. It's not very thick, okay? But her name is Kate Turabian. And a lot of American universities recommend this book for academic writing. Okay. Okay, and then another book that I like and that a lot of people, a lot of American writers like, On Writing Well by Zinsser, William Zinsser. And this is an informal guide to writing nonfiction. Okay, so this is for writing nonfiction. So this would also be a book that would help you write good essays. On Writing Well by Zinsser. Okay, all you have to do is Google that, On Writing Well, and put it in quotation marks, and you can find that book. But those are two trusted resources for writers in the United States, and it would also be good for you too. And if you enjoy writing like I do, you will enjoy reading those books. And if you're looking for answers on, you know, what should I say and how should I say it, the Turabian book and the Zinsser book could help you a lot. And I think you would enjoy those books. Okay. Oh, your favorite flower, huh? Okay, good. Yeah. Yes, they really are beautiful. Atlanta is beautiful right now because of all the flowers. Okay. And all the students in my class are so wonderful. And you write so well. All right. Let's get back to your essays. Okay, let's look at this one. The rapid, okay, we're going to do this. The rapid development of technology has brought potential concerns to parents. At present, children have access to technology too early without the proper supervision and guidance from parents and schools. This has a negative impact on children. The first is the health problem. Most of the children who have too much contact with phones and computers suffer from eye diseases such as nearsightedness and astigmatism. Okay, I'm going to say that this is very good writing. It is direct and succinct. And succinct is just another English word for short, brief, succinct. Okay, it's not pronounced like it looks. It's pronounced succinct. Okay. um, okay, so instead of saying the health problem, I think you should say health issues. Okay. I would say the first is health issues. Okay. Um, because there's not just one problem. And if you say issues, that's broad enough and general enough to cover a lot of things. Okay, so I would take these, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words, and I would rewrite it using 3 words. Students who overuse, okay? So that is shorter, it's more succinct. Okay, now also be careful with the word disease. Okay, consider the use of these words. Um, condition, issue, disorder, or problem. Okay, examine closely the use of the word disease. It's a very, it's a medical term that if you're going to use it wisely, use it correctly. If you use words inaccurately, readers will soon learn to distrust you as a reliable source of information. So, you know, some of your readers are going to be highly educated. They're going to be smart and wise, and um, you have to convince your readers to trust you. So if you misuse a word, like if you call nearsightedness a disease, that person's going to think, that's not really a disease. This writer is using that word incorrectly. And so you can convince your reader to distrust you. You don't want to do that. You want to convince your reader to trust you and to use words accurately. Okay, so be careful with that word disease. And remember something else about modern situation for writers is that your words, if you put them on the web, they can stay there forever. You can never erase them. All right. So now you are building your reputation as a writer, and your words can be held against you forever, or they can be used to show your consistency as a truth teller. So parse your words very carefully. Um, so if you're going to write something, Um, okay, well, I'll tell you something that my grandmother taught me when I was a child. She said, if you're going to do something, do it well. Okay. In other words, if you're going to do something, do a good job, do it right. Okay. So when you are writing, you want to be a good writer and you want people to trust you and believe you. And you're building your reputation right now with what you write. Um, all right. And I think you're all doing very well. Just be careful. Um, when you use a powerful word like disease, make sure that you know exactly what to call it. And by the way, let me just stop sharing that for a second. I know I've showed you this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. Um, I'm going to again point you to the CDC website, because the CDC website is so good. It's so informative. And you can find out a lot of very good information here. And like I showed you before, you can also get this information in Vietnamese. Okay. And so if you read the English and you have questions about what it means in Vietnamese, um, you can um, you can read it here. Okay. All right. So that can help you to learn English about diseases. But also, if you just if you just explore this website, here are a lot of very important diseases. You can read about them. Okay, you can read about diabetes, for example. Okay, you can get good information if if you're suffering from a disease. You can get lots of great information here. So if you're writing an essay um, and you need some information about health, just go to cdc.gov. Okay. Um, if you're traveling, you can learn about, where you're going, what the situation is there, preparing for emergencies, and even more things. Um, okay. You could even get a job at CDC, maybe writing. Okay. Um, okay. So here's some information about violence impacting teens' lives. Okay. Um, so there's lots and lots and lots of good information here. Um, let's see. And you can also use the search feature. And if you want to look on, um, let me see, nearsightedness. Maybe. Okay. It's searching. Ah, common eye disorders and diseases. Okay. Contact lenses. Okay, so you can find information on this website. And this, when you put sources like, you know, a link to the CDC site where you got your information, that can help your essay be much more convincing. Okay. All right. All right. So let me stop sharing that. Let me go back to your essays. All right. Okay. Let's read these two sentences. Next is mental and intellectual problems. Interesting video games have replaced healthy books, stories, newspapers, and extracurricular activities. They are the #1 favorite in the hearts of children. Okay, what does they mean here? Can somebody tell me what they is referring to?
Like I think that is interesting video games.
Are you sure?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay. Could it be books?
I think it's video games.
Okay. Could it be newspapers? Could it be
Yep.
extracurricular activities? Okay, so
Yeah.
what I'm asking you to think about here is if you use the word they, is that being ambiguous or unambiguous? Is it possible that they could refer to something else?
Ambiguous.
Yeah, it is. It's not perfectly clear here. Are you talking about games or books? Can there be a question in the reader's mind? Okay, as a clear writer, it is your job to write explicitly. So let me see. Uh, when you're writing about the hearts of children, that is a very serious issue. So make it crystal clear what you are saying and which side you are on. If you're asking your reader to make a choice for the children, you can offer them the choice in writing. For example, you can say, is it important for you to encourage your children to read? Or is it okay with you if they don't read, but learn the story through other media? When you set up clear choices for your readers, it encourages them to think and to make choices. And those are things that you definitely want to do as a writer. So, you know, instead of Governor Brian Kemp, he's telling you, here's what I believe, you know, you might want to invite your readers to think and realize that there can be more than one opinion about these things. Okay, so let me ask you as students, is it important that that people read, or is it okay to get your information on TV and videos? Is reading important?
For me, reading is more important.
Okay. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
yeah, I agree with her.
Okay. Do you think that reading is important for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Is that your opinion or is that a fact? Do you know somebody who doesn't read very much?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but you know that yeah, I have a friend.
uh-huh.
He really good at Japanese.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but yeah, he like not don't spend a lot of time in reading Japanese books, but he like watch a lot of cartoon and
Hmm.
yeah, video by Japanese.
Yeah. Japanese animation is very popular, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
animated movies and things like that. The Japanese are very good at animation. Yeah. And Japanese movies. Okay. There are some very, very famous Japanese movies. I like to watch Japanese movies. And uh, Akira Kurosawa is one of the most famous movie directors in the world. But yeah, okay. So all I'm saying is, when you're writing an essay, maybe you want to kind of set up a dialogue with your reader, even though it's not a dialogue. You can you can invite your reader to think and to develop opinions, and you can make suggestions that get them to think about something. And if you can just get your readers to think, that's a big deal. I mean, you've succeeded as a writer if you get your readers to think, and if you get them to form an opinion where they didn't have an opinion before. That's another big thing. Okay. So you can flat out ask your readers to think about something. Okay. So you can ask them questions like this. Okay. So that's just one technique for pulling your readers into your essay to get them to think about what you're saying. Okay. But what happens if you use the word I, your reader's going to go, oh, well, this is only about this person's opinion. It's not inviting me to think about something. It's like preaching. Does everybody understand the word preaching? It's like preaching is when you say, um, hamburgers are the only good food in the world. You should eat more hamburgers. Okay, that's preaching. Okay, and most people don't like, for writers to preach to them. They want you to engage them in thought. Okay. Another word for that is lecture. Um, when I was a child, my father would he would say, Jack, here's the way you should be, and he would tell me things, and I go, oh, not another lecture, Dad. We when we're children, our parents do lecture us a lot, but when we grow older, we don't like to be told what to do. Okay, we grow out of that. So you're going to be writing to adults, I think. So just remember that. Okay, this here's a sentence. Technology, on the other hand, provides a great wealth of knowledge. Just know how to use it for the right purpose. Technology is the teacher in the modern world of children. Okay, let me see. This is a problem. And okay, here you're talking directly to your reader and you are directly giving your reader advice. So this is kind of like lecturing or preaching. As an expert or God would give advice. I suspect that your reader has doubt about your credibility, and I doubt that your readers will see you as God. So be careful when you are lecturing. To me, this is a problem sentence. Technology is the teacher in the modern world of children. So I view this statement as absurd. Technology is not a teacher. Technology is a medium which teachers sometimes use when they teach. Technology does not educate. My advice is to make sure that your writing follows clear logic and common sense. Use logic that most readers understand and adhere to. Okay, so where this is a bold statement, I think it's wrong. Okay, so make sure that your logic is not convoluted. Make sure that, like technology can be used for good or it can be used for bad. And technology is not really helping or hurting. It's people using technology. Okay, so be careful of your logic. Make sure that your logic makes common sense. Okay, so think about those things. Okay. Uh, Here's someone's conclusion. In short, the development of technology has always brought about two positive and negative sides. However, technology is an essential to human life. Children using technology properly will help them bring many valuable benefits in life, in everyday life. Okay, well, I'm going to recommend that the use of introductory phrases as in short has fallen into disfavor. Whoops. In the United States, in favor of brevity and concision. Okay. Brevity and concision mean being short. They were popular and they were ubiquitous in the past, but taste has changed. Brevity and succinctness, I should say, are vastly favored over flowery language. Okay, so when I talked about um, how people don't like to read so much anymore, um, um, okay, so the problem in 2021 is not that we don't have enough information. The problem is that we have too much information. Okay, if you Google something or you search on something and you get, 3,000 hits on that subject, now the problem is I can't find information. There's too much information. Which information can I trust? And then the other thing is when you're reading Shakespeare, you're reading for pleasure, you're reading for fun. But when you're reading to get information or opinions, you want people to be succinct. You want people to be short with their information. Flowery language is when you use a lot of extra words that you don't need, okay? And today, readers are impatient when they are reading for information. So um, fewer words. All right. So when your teacher tells you write an essay and write 250 words, I understand that. And I understand that you're writing for a purpose and that your teacher is your audience. But make sure that all 250 words that you use are meaningful words that convey information that the reader doesn't already know. And then back it up with references to independent resources. Okay, so um, keep it short and sweet, the KISS principle, and make sure that it has meaning. All right. It is a falsehood to say that technology is essential to human life. Like, do you believe that? Do you believe that we cannot exist without technology? People existed for millions of years without the use of technology. So, um, I mean, do you consider a stick to be technology? I don't. Do you consider building a fire to be technology? I don't. So be careful when you use uh, broad general statements like that. I think people will kind of laugh at statements like that. So be careful. Um, if you, I could see how if you said something like technology is essential, or technology has become essential in daily life in 2021, okay, or something like that, then you're kind of being more specific. You could say, um, in the modern household today, technology is essential, okay, because electricity is technology, okay, computers are technology. But be careful when you use very broad statements like that. Okay, here's an example from Essay 4, Group 4. To start, the advantages of using a computer are generally acknowledged. Okay, I applaud this sentence. It's very good. It's a good sentence. It's brief. It's to the point. Okay, it's not wasting my time. To start, the advantages of using a computer are generally acknowledged. Short, sweet, very good writing. Okay. Animated web pages and motivation applications are meant to educate and encourage them to search out more knowledge, thus broadening their horizons. Okay. I would recommend that you not say motivation applications, but that you say applications that are entertaining and motivating. Okay. Because I don't know of an application that I would call a motivation application. Um, I don't know. a motivation application? I don't think so. It's not in my it's not in my app store on my iPhone. I don't have any motivation applications. Okay. Due to their lack of self-control, young children are prone to becoming addicted to computers, especially video games. Okay, so my recommendation is to think it like this. Beware of blanket statements that are unsupported by fact. Do all children lack self-control? Okay. Um, so when you say something like this, um, and you don't quote a source, then I think that, you know, it's you're going out on a limb. Do I? Let me see. Does everybody understand what I mean by that? Going out on a limb. Um, okay, when you climb a tree and you're climbing up the trunk of the tree, you're safe. But if you go out on a limb of that tree, you might fall off. Okay, so if you write something like all children lack self-control, I think you might fall off. That's kind of a dangerous thing to say about all children. I don't think I would believe that. So maybe don't go out on that limb. Okay, furthermore, if they fall in love with the virtual universe, okay, I understand that. And I think it's okay. But in order, if I were writing an essay for my professor, I would not use that expression. I would use this one, to become obsessed with. Okay. Everybody understand that word obsessed? Okay. It's like,
Yes.
okay. Another way to say that in English is tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. You can only see in one direction. Okay. To become obsessed with. And people do become obsessed with things today. Okay. They really do. Uh, okay. Thus, spending extended periods of time in front of a screen has both physical and psychological consequences, which are exacerbated in young children. That's a good sentence. It's very clear. It's concise. So I would say, good job. That is a good sentence. All right. All right. Let me look down here. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Let's look. This is the last thing that I have from your essays to talk about today. It's not the last thing I'll talk about, but this is the last thing from your essays. Okay. To conclude, while machines are useful to children's development, the negative results they carry outweigh the advantages. It is appropriate for children to use computers 2 or 3 days a week, but parents must be mindful of the harmful content on the internet and their children's video game addiction. Okay, well, that's very well written. I like it. It's good. But I would recommend that you do some research and get some guidelines and recommendations from sources that your audience trusts, such as a national child welfare organization. Okay, I'm sure that you have those in Vietnam. If you quote facts and figures, and if you say, so this organization recommends these guidelines, then that carries more weight than just your opinion, because it's going to be hard for you to convince anybody just to believe everything you say. Okay. So consider doing just a little bit of research. Go on the web, search on, um, you know, uh, guidelines for online usage or something like that. I'm sure that you will be able to come up with a lot of good information. Okay. So, all right. Are there any questions about what I've talked about so far today? Any comments or questions? I still have something to talk about. Oh, and before I forget, we will have our first um, talk or workshop this Friday, the 16th of April, at the same time, 7 o'clock Vietnamese time, 7 to 9. And that workshop will be about pronunciation. So if you would like to join us for that workshop, it will be this Friday, the 16th of April at 7 o'clock Vietnamese time, from 7 to 9. And your professors have asked me to let you know that so that you can write that down and attend if it's appropriate for you. But I would be talking about how you can improve your pronunciation of English, and I'm going to talk about what kinds of methods I will use to help you learn pronunciation. Because I know um, we need ways to talk about how to pronounce things. You need more than just words. So I think you'll enjoy it. It's going to be Friday, the 16th at 7 o'clock Vietnamese time, from 7 to 9. Okay. Any questions about that? You
So
can.
you are a presenter for the
Mhm.
workshop, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be changing the subject from essay writing to pronunciation of English, and there's going to be a series of workshops all through the summer, and this is just going to be the first of those workshops.
Happy to hear that.
Okay, well, that makes me happy too. Okay, I want to talk to you about something that you need to discuss with your professors. This is a conversation that all students need to have, excuse me, with your professors. Okay, so I noticed that a lot of you are using different fonts, and everybody has their preferences, everybody has their opinions about how things look. I wanted to ask you if you know the difference between a serif font and a sans serif font. Um, for example, at my university, at Georgia State University, most of my professors wanted me to use Times New Roman font, which is what this is. And if you'll
That's
note,
true.
yeah, okay,
That's true. Yeah.
all right. So Times New Roman is a serif font type. It is older, it is more traditional, and it is not very good for online presentation. And the reason for that is because serif font has like little curly cues and things that end up, being very small. And Calibri is a font that it is new, it is modern, it is sans serif. Sans is French for without. So it does notice that the lines of the letters are thick everywhere. If you look at the T in Times New Roman, you'll see that it's thick in the middle, but it's not thick on the sides. Okay, so that is how you can tell a serif font. Calibri does not have those thin little curving parts. Now, there are thousands and thousands of fonts, but the thing you want to ask your professor is, what type of font do you prefer? And if you have 3 different professors, you might get 3 different answers. I don't know. At Hue University, maybe the university has a policy about which font to use. Maybe your department has a policy about which font to use, or maybe they don't. I don't know. So I'm going to suggest to you to have this conversation with all of your professors and find out, is there a departmental policy, a school policy, or is it your policy, professor? Okay, so just ask them, because more and more, we are not printing our work anymore. Like, I don't think when you send your essays to your teachers, I don't think you are printing them out. We are not using printers like we used to, okay? We are trying not to use paper and we're trying not to use ink. And so that might be something that you all want to think about. Since all of your work is going to be online, like in a Word document or something like that, maybe you want to switch to a sans serif font. And there are lots and lots of them. Verdana is a very popular font. Excuse me, but just have that conversation with your professor. Okay, then also ask, what font size do you prefer? Do you prefer 10-point font, 11-point font, 12-point font, or something else? Because you'll find that your professors have preferences most of the time. Okay, so just ask, what do you prefer? Also, you want to ask about line spacing. Do you prefer single space? Do you prefer 1.5 space, or do you prefer double space? And the reason that usually your professors will talk to you about spacing is, when they want to insert comments into your papers. Okay, so that's what spacing is about. All right, which quoting methods do you prefer? Do you want quotation marks? Do you want indentation or something else? So you just want to have a conversation with your professors about that. Okay, note that some professors may have strong preferences, some do not. That's in my experience. But also note that if you're writing for publication, you should determine the publication's preferences. If you're writing for publication in a journal, then yes, that journal will tell you it must be like this, okay? This font, this spacing, things like that. So some journals are older and more traditional. Some have kind of modernized. Since everything is online now, almost nobody prints journals on paper anymore. So this is something that I have lived through because when I was in high school, we did not have computers. We used typewriters. And, so I have seen all of those changes, and I have also tried to adapt to all of those changes. So go online, discontinue using so much paper, don't use so much ink, and think about changing these things. Okay. So just you might want to have a conversation with your professors about these things. And that is all that I have for you today. Do you have comments or questions for me?
Yeah, so which font type do you refer?
Me personally,
Just kidding, but if you like, you can answer this question.
I like Calibri.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Calibri. It's clean. It looks good online. And if I'm using Microsoft, I would choose Calibri. Now, if I'm using Apple, I might use something different. Okay, but
Yeah, okay.
I am um, I'm I'm a I'm a writer for American business,
Mhm.
and Calibri is just fine because most businesses in the United States use Microsoft
Yeah,
technology.
yeah,
Apple is usually in the United States, Apple is usually used in schools and universities and also by artists and media specialists. So people have different preferences, but I have worked with all of those people. And when I was a student 2 years ago, I was an old student, but I was still a student. Okay, so my professors, like one of my professors saw me use Calibri, and she goes, "No, don't use that. That's terrible. That's ugly." And so I said, "Oh, okay. What do you want me to use?" And so she preferred a serif font like Times New Roman. And, I also discovered that many of the students in my classes had strong preferences for things. And some hated one font and loved another. And so um, to me, I like things to be modern and to look modern. And um, I, I'm I like art and I like music and I like the fine arts
yeah. You
and
like a lot of things.
I do. I have a lot of interests. Um, and one of the things if you learn about fonts, it's very interesting. You'll there's a lot to learn about typology. So that word in English, if you go search on it, there's a lot to learn about typology. And um, these have been developed um, just like people like colors. Like, do you have a favorite color? Okay, maybe your
Yes,
favorite color is pink. Maybe your
yeah.
favorite color is black. Maybe your favorite color is purple. I don't know, but that's the way people are with fonts.
Yeah.
So, but the main thing is, what does your professor think? Because your professor is who you've got to make happy, okay? But for me personally, I like things to be modern. Um, when I read a book, it's okay to to read different kinds of fonts. I don't have preferences there. I read a lot, um, but you will have your own preference. But my point is that you need to talk to your professors about these things and say, what do you want? Because I'm going to give you what makes you happy. So, um,
I got your mean.
yes, I need to share that file with you. Thank you for reminding me. That's very important. So let me go do that now. I need to go to my Google Drive first.
So, hey,
Okay.
teacher, one of our class may have a question for you.
Okay. Give me just 1 second. I want to make sure that I give you this link first, and then I'll answer your question. Okay. All right. There it is. But I didn't want to open it. One upload complete. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now, share. Change to anyone with the link. Got it. Copy link. Link copied. Paste. Okay, there is the link to the file with all of the changes over the last 3 days. Okay. It's like, I think it's like 12 or 13 pages. Okay. Is that link okay? Did anybody get it already?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thanks.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. A question? Who would like to ask a question?
Well, I think your lectures are very clear. So, maybe do you have any other tips or notes for us when writing English? English grammar.
Yeah, I
Keep up
have
the good work. Yeah. Question?
I have a question. Yeah,
Hmm.
my IELTS teacher told me that if I have to write a problem solution essay, and then in a body I have to express two ideas a problem, and then two ideas of solution.
Hmm.
You got it? And then I read the instruction from my professor, and then is that I just write for one ideas for problems and one ideas for solution. And
Hmm.
the most important thing that I need to do is like to talk about the problem in detail. So
Hmm.
yeah, so like um
Well,
like
I think
what I
everything
should
that we've
do.
talked about, I think everything that we have talked about in these few days is going to help you with that, because just remember that you need to not just talk out of your own head. You need to do a little research
Yeah,
and get good, solid facts from reliable sources, and then form an educated opinion Okay.
Yeah.
Not just
You
an
know,
opinion.
yeah.
You want to show people that you know what you're talking about. So, give an
Yeah.
educated opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Because we write the essay for the exam. Like we
Mhm.
don't have time to do some research. Yeah. So it hard for all of us
Oh,
to
for the
like,
exam. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, for the exam. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, when you're doing the exam, you can't go online, right?
No.
Okay. But still, you have learned so much in this class that will help you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Still,
can pick up some useful knowledge about from you. Yeah.
I hope so, because we've talked about, um, you know, being concise. You know, don't use too many words. Don't use flowery words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get to the point. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've
Yeah.
talked about how important the first paragraph is, the introduction, and your
Yeah.
first sentence has to grab the
Yeah.
person's attention. If you know a fact that you can use that other people might not know,
Yeah.
then that's impressive too. And then in your conclusion, you want your conclusion to be very powerful and, use, be very clear, use the vocabulary to be clear about what you're saying and logical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing.
When is your exam?
Yeah, maybe in like last of April, in the end of April.
At the end of April. Okay. Well, now you have, I think I sent you 3 different documents with my recommendations. So remember, I showed you that book, Make It Stick. It's about how to learn things. One of the things that that book tells you to do is don't just read things. Reading is like watching TV. It's a passive thing. If you really want to learn, turn to somebody else and explain it to them, okay? Or write down a short explanation to yourself of what it is you're trying to remember, okay? But just reading or highlighting or underlining, that's not really learning.
Yeah,
Um, and also, it recommends that you study something intensively for a few minutes and then go brush your teeth or something, and or cook lunch or something, and then come back and do it again after a little bit of time, and then go do something else, go ride your bicycle, and then come back and do it again. Okay. So study, 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 break, study, 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 break. That's a good way
yeah,
to help remember things.
yeah.
And
Thank you for
remember,
advice.
even you can use that consolidation technique, works even while you're sleeping. So if there's something that you really want to learn, read about it right before you go to sleep. Your brain is still working even while you're sleeping. Okay.
Yeah, so sleep can like keep worse.
You need sleep, because if you
Ah,
don't
yeah.
sleep, you will not do well on your exam. So
Okay.
sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you, everybody.
can I ask you one last question? Like,
Yes, please.
yeah, I just have some problem with cause and effect type of essay. Like, can we not use set example at all? Like,
Oh, sure you can.
okay, I can because mostly I only use like is a fact and its effect is widely known and globally, and it's popular globally. So I think I do not use a specific sample to determine the cause or its effect. I just use explanation.
I think examples are excellent. And I would say that you need examples.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, and the more common the example, the better the example. Okay, it's like if it's generally known that looking at your computer monitor all day is not good for you, then I think you can give that as an example. But okay, somebody asked me to
Okay,
re.
thank you.
Yeah, okay. Did I answer your question, Huang?
Yes, I think I get it. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Somebody asked me to share the link for the second set of essays. Okay. Anyone with the link, copy the link. Okay. I'm sending the second document again. Does anybody want me to send the first one again? Because I can if you want me to. Maybe I'll just do it anyway. Um, I'll send it anyway. Yes, please. Okay, I will. Okay. Here comes the first one. Okay, so that's all three you have today. Um, yeah, I would I would like to encourage you by saying that you're all doing very, very well. And anything that I've done for you has been to make your good writing better. So you should have confidence. Obviously, your professors are doing a great job at teaching you, and you're doing a great job at learning. And I would just say, what I'm telling you are my thoughts and opinions, but I, um, I would just say I do have a master's degree in writing as a technical writer. And I have experience in American corporations. I also have a master's in teaching English. And so, I know what I'm talking about, but still, it's just my thoughts and my opinions. So you can find people who will disagree with me, and it will not upset me at all. Because just like people like different fonts, people like different colors. I like diversity. I celebrate diversity, and you will find people who will disagree with me about writing things. Okay, and that's okay.
I
You
love
have
the
to decide.
way, yeah, I love the way you guide us to write an essay. I really love it. Yeah,
Okay, well, good.
yeah.
Uh, well, okay. So I would say thank you to your professors for setting this up for you, um, because I think they are very wise and very organized and very good at what they do. So I have really enjoyed working with everyone in Vietnam, the students and the professors. So you're getting an excellent education. Hang in there. And if you want to come to the workshop on Friday, from 7 to 9 on the 16th. I will talk a lot, and hopefully you will enjoy it. The conversation about pronunciation of English. Okay, everybody, thank you. It's 10:06, my time, it's 10:16 in the morning. I guess it's like 9:16 at night for you. So thank you. If you have any comments or questions, and remember, I'm going to put my email address in chat. Okay, thank you, everyone. There's my email address. It is an honor and a pleasure to work with you all. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, teacher.
Goodbye. Good day to you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good night. Get some sleep.
Thank you.
All right.
Goodbye, teacher.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for the lesson. And I hope that one day we can meet in Vietnam. Okay. Good night. Không phải kêu phim đâu.
I'm going to put my email address in chat again, just in case you didn't see it. Thank you. I'm glad it was
Thank you
helpful.
so much. Yeah.
I would love to come to Vietnam and meet you someday. All right. Thank you, everyone. You stay healthy and safe too.
Okay, thank you, teacher. And good.
Thanks and goodbye. I'm
Okay.
going to end the meeting now. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.